Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with Eye on Cinema, here to review The Glorias, the latest film directed by Julie Taymor, which premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival and will be available to stream, courtesy of Amazon Prime, September 30th, 2020. So anybody, if you've seen a previous Julie Taymor film, most likely you will definitely want to see this, which is her take on Gloria Steinem, based on her book, memoir, My Life on the Road. Of course, it takes a lot of, as you would expect with the Julie Taymor film, a lot of visual liberties with the material to try to kind of transcend the traditional biopic. Strangely, for all that it does try to do, it makes it more of a cliched biopic than ever, and one that is kind of feels like it's a bit all over the place. That said, this is the first time Taymor's had a theatrical feature since 2010's The Tempest. So the device that's used repeatedly, which is where we're getting the title The Glorias, is that Gloria Steinem at several different stages in her life, from a child to a teenager, to a young woman to a middle-aged woman, all played by different actresses, of course, are all together on this bus that's shot in black and white and corresponding with each other throughout several moments in the film. The film's 2.5 hours, so we spend a lot of time at certain stages of this before we get to what really is the meat of it, with Julianne Moore playing Steinem as a middle-aged woman at late 60s, early 70s, where we know most of her work in the feminist women's liberation movement and in her attempts to get the Equal Rights Amendment off the ground. It's also where the film hits its stride energy-wise because of some very vibrant supporting characters played by Lorraine Toussaint as Flo Kennedy and Bette Midler as Bella Asbug, who go a long way to adding a lot of energy that was kind of lacking. And also just a little bit Janelle Monáe as Dorothy Pittman Hughes, who seems to be used very sparingly beyond the iconic photograph that she took with Steinem, and is one of the co-creators of Ms. Magazine, of course. Kimberly Guerrero as Wilma Mankiller is also a bright spot in the last third of the film. It was shot by Rodrigo Prieto, who of course shot Brokeback Mountain and Babel and Wolf of Wall Street. So there's an interesting look to the film. However, when Taymor does Shakespeare, which to me, the pinnacle will always be her 1999 debut Titus, of course an adaptation of Titus Andronicus, where that theatricality from her work in theater really pops. Does not so much here, because there's some flights of fancy, including what are supposed to be what we perceive to be Steinem's inner emotional feelings, like a Wizard of Oz in the tornado sequence, where all of these different Glorias are kind of screaming at once right during this lecherous interview, that just don't work and are kind of breathlessly cringeworthy, show-stoppingly awkward, and really takes one out of this biopic about a woman that is very blunt, that she is kind of one note. In listening to Steinem's interviews, if you've ever seen any with her, very deadpan, very droll, obviously very smart, and very entertaining just as that. And trying to kind of shake that up a bit makes it seem strangely false. There's also a sequence where Lulu Wilson, playing Gloria as a young child, has an interaction with a young black girl, and it's a throwaway scene, but it's meant as a clue to the audience to show why Steinem is so upfront about rights for Black people, gay rights, trans rights. It's supposed to set up this spectrum of humanity for her that it really just comes across in her work, in the interactions that she does have, and the things she did say in interviews that are depicted, especially in the Julianne Moore segments. I will say Moore also does do a fine job doing the Steinem accent, where Alicia Vikander does not. And although the segment where she works for New Yorker magazine and does the Playboy Bunny article that puts her on the map, a lot of that feels very, it's a dry stretch in the film. Overall, the other parts that seem to pop are actual footage of Steinem herself. which really begs perhaps a documentary would have been a better format to relay this woman's significant achievements. Overall, I would give Taymor's take on Steinem with the Glorias 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Hey, this is Eric from MyOnCinema.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.